Kasi, so alam nila na meron ng assessment form. Tapos, nung binigay sa amin assessment form, when we started to work, what we did was, for each of this form, we said that parang what are the data requirements? That's why, sa mga forms na yan, bibili sa inyo, may first part yan, may mga tables dyan. Diyan nilalatag yung mga different items na makakatulong sa inyo to evaluate yourself. Okay. So, and out of that idea of trying to put some evidence and give the evidence to us, naisip namin i-suggest sa PCHRD, okay, na i-capture na rin namin yung mga data na yon, yung mga listahan ng research na yon, and put it in a database. Sayang naman, andyan na yung information binibigay sa amin. No? Kung yung information na yun, ibinigay nyo lang, pinilipan nyo lang, tapos ang kalalabasan lang is, ginamit nyo lang siya para magamit yung kung anong level nyo, kung 1 or 2 or sino kayo, tapos wala na, sayang naman yung effort nyo, nalilagay nyo pa yung sinulat nyo pa yun. No? Eh sa amin, gusto namin meron doon, para meron kami basihan to compare your answers with what you really have. Okay? Nanghihinayan namin sa availability of data, might as well put it together, because this information is actually also important. Why? Because the assessments do not give exactly the detail of what you're doing. It only tells you where you are, but it doesn't give you some idea, it doesn't give PCHRD the idea of what are the specifics of these things that you are reporting. Ano-ano mga areas ang ginagawa nyo, ano ang specific problems, anong equipment na meron kayo dyan, etc. etc. Eh yan, sinadjust na rin namin na total, ibibigay nyo rin lang namin sa amin yung information, ipasok na namin sa database, at the end of this project, we hope that this database will be something of our legacy to PCHRD. Okay? And then it can be something that can be continued, which we hope it will be. Na the moment na meron na yan, maka-update na lang tayo. No? You can use the same database to just enter the new activities that you're doing dahil yung previous activities nyo andyan sa loob. Dadagdag. At habang nadadagdagan yan, nakikita ng PCHRD yung current situation niya, yung updated situation niya. Okay? So, hopefully, it will also kind of convince you na yung mga information na yan, ay importante rin. Ayaw mo sabihin sa inyo, baka mamaya hindi nyo nagagawin. Kasi, in reality, as far as the CBC is concerned, ang gusto ng CBC is your levels. At sabi ko sa inyo, kung ano man sinulat nyo doon, tapos wala naman kayong data doon, hindi pa rin namin buburahin yung levels nyo. Kasi yung assessment, self-assessment yan eh. Naglagay na kayo dalawang research, ang report nyo, meron kayong 4. Hindi na makita yung dalawa. Ano gawin namin? Papalitan namin yung gawin namin yung dalawa. No. In agreement, sabi namin, self-assessment yan. Okay. And there might be some reasons why you might not be able to actually provide this, but it could be something we'll start. Kung medyo kapos kayo na nilagay doon, then we will be able perhaps to follow up on you. Maybe you can say na, dagdag natin to. Alright? So hopefully, you will also realize that malaking bagay rin na i-provide yung information na yan sa amin. Sa PCHRD. Okay. Alright. Now, so the objective of this survey na pinapagawa sa NTPC is just to determine the research capacities of regional consortiums, institutions, and researchers engaged in the health research, and dagdag na nga lang yung database. The database as is lang. Of course, we can also analyze the database, but that's another thing that PCHRD might want to actually do for maybe some researchers in the future might need some data for their activity, for requirements. Pwede naman ibigay yun, tapos gawin nyo nga ito para meron pakinabang sila at may tutulong sila sa PCHRD o sa PCHRD. Okay, so yun ang aming objectives. No? Okay, now, we have the 3 different populations here. Okay, sino-sino ba ang kasali? Sino-sino ba ang kasama, pwede isama din sa database na to? Okay, So the plan is to include all known health researchers, research institutions, and consortia in the Philippines who meet the inclusion-exclusion criteria. Okay, this inclusion-exclusion criteria is something that we might actually also discuss. No? Of course, right now, what we're going to provide you is something on a, sabihin natin, at the more inclusive level. Kasi pwedeng i-redefine natin what do we mean by a researcher. Ang isa bang researcher, ang isa bang tao na nagbabalak pa lang gumawa ng research? Would you consider him as a researcher? Or to be considered as a researcher, he must already have one publication. So pag sinama mo yung mga pati yung nagbabalak pa lang, included na doon yung mga meron na. So mas inclusive yun. Na kung gagawa lang tayo ng assessment, tapos gusto natin assessment only at the level na meron na nag-produce, then walang problema doon kasi isa-subset mo lang yan sa iyong presentation. Okay. Now, there will be no sampling done. So that means there will be no excluded as long as they are qualified. So hindi na kami magsasampling, hindi na kami mamipili. Lahat kasali. All inclusive. Sabi mo, the idea is also to produce this database which will be a database, a national database. Okay. The initial list of these entities will come from the database of PCHRD because PCHRD knows a lot of you already. But it is actually also based on our initial salvo, napansin namin na may mga iba pa palang institutions na may ginagawa na hindi pa rin pala na-identify at maybe hindi na sila aware at aware sila na meron ginagawa at meron pa sila pwede mahinga ng tulong, maging interesado din sila. So if they are actually conducting health researches, then we will qualify them into this. Okay. It is envisioned that by the start of the survey, all regional consortia shall be functioning within the 17 consortia sa lahat kasali. Meron ba tayong region na wala pa consortia na tumatawag? Lahat meron na, so good. Okay. So the consortium includes, by the way, consortium, kasi pwede naman pala ng iba-ibang consortium eh. Pero pag sinabi consortium, we're just referring to the consortium na in-establish ng PCHRD. Yung nireference nila, Regional Health Research Development Committee, RHRDCs or RHR Consortium. So yun, kasi maaaring may consortium naman na iba na private, hindi yun ang aming ano. Kung consortium very specific may doon sa yung RHRDC. Okay? Next. Yung institutions naman, we refer to all academic institutions that are teaching health-related courses, including hospital-trained institutions, and other private and government entities that conduct health researches. So mostly kasi yung mga nasa academic yan, pero of course may mga gumagawa ng health research na hindi naman talaga nagtuturo, pwede pa rin sila isama dyan. Okay. Exclusion would be those who are doing researches but do not wish to coordinate or do not wish to really get involved. Kung wala silang pakailan, gumagawa sila sa sarili, kung talagang ayaw nila, hindi na nagpipilit siya. Okay? Next. Researchers include any individual affiliated with the qualified institutions. So yung mga institutions na yan, you will help us identify sino ba yung sinasabi yung researchers nyo. So it will lead to you to identify who they are. And you identify them because you want them to be also to be considered doon sa paghahanap ng mabuting interventions or the interventions that might be required to develop them. Okay? But there are also, as we have seen, those perhaps retired or medyo independent, wala na sa isang academic institution na nakalista, but there's also active in the region. Of course, there are many examples of that. Sila ba hindi kasali? Isali na rin natin siya kasi yan naman, siguro mapapakinabangan din natin yung kanilang expertise. And they might also be, perhaps be qualified to also guest research class. Okay. Exclusion not to be participating or not interested in PCHRD's research capacity development programs. Next. Okay. Now, how are we collecting this data? Okay. When we thought about this, of course, I will admit to you now some problems with regards to our approach, some difficulties. But the idea was to offer both two approaches. One is, bibigyan kayo ng hard copy, yan, at pipila pa niyan, at ibabalik nyo sa amin. Padala sa amin, kami na Okay? Pag na-complete nyo na yan, kami na mag-upload yan. Kami na yung mag-encode yan. Kami na magpapasok yan sa database na piniprepare namin. Okay. So that's one approach. No? The other approach is we are hoping to actually come up with an online database. Na sabihin na namin na, okay, go to this website, tapos kung gusto mo ipasok yung information mo as a researcher, then instead of filling that up, may counterpart yan na pipilapan mo at doon ka na diretso. Okay. Okay, from our standpoint, of course, mas preferred namin yun. Diba? Clear naman, obvious naman. Dahil, diretso na. Hindi na kami mag-ano pa, mag-effort na mag-encode. Unfortunately, okay, I didn't realize that the development of the database, hindi, kasi sabi ko nung, I made a mistake actually. Very excited ako na sinabi ko na kagad sa mga letters na pinadala namin, sa initial salvo namin na punta nyo na yung website namin, ay yung ano namin, yung developer namin, sabi, hindi gano'n. The-develop lang natin yung database natin, eh, hindi, nasimula tayo ngayon, meron ka ng database. So, and the database is really a work in progress. Sabi na natin, towards the end, we will have the database which have these features where, hopefully, if for PCHRD, they would like to do some automatic reporting, yung para bang give nila sila isang button doon, tapos so search na kung sino yung mga gano'n. Those kind of facilities na nakikita nyo naman, I think you have experience working on online databases where you're allowed to search yung mga, and that might be some characteristics na gusto rin namin available dito sa database ito. It's really an ambitious project. Pero sabi ko, hindi ba kayanin naman, why not? However, sabi ko nga, ito mali kami dahil hindi na nakalat namin yung pina-announce, eh hindi pala namin pa ma-set up. So what we're doing now is really a stopgap solution. Okay? Ang ginawa namin, okay, yung mga gusto na ayaw isulat, okay, pinapadala namin sila ng, tawag dito, yung, actually, we have available yung Word document form, andun yung file, tapos may mga blank spaces doon, nandun din nakalagay information, tapos, pag natapos nyo yun, isasabihin sa amin yung buong Word document. Again, gusto rin namin yun, compared to writing it on paper. Why? Kahit na hindi yun nakapasok sa database, mas madali magpasok na for us. Kasi gagawin lang namin doon, cut and paste na lang. Hindi namin magre-retype. No? Actually, sa totoo na, yung muna namin natanggap. By the way, of course, I'm going to inform you that about that, where do we stand now. Yung mga muna namin tanggap, ang hirap pala mag-encode. Trabaho. But, of course, we cannot do that. But, allow you to have that option to do it if you prefer it to be written in paper. Okay, at your service naman kami lahat. Okay, so yeah. Now, the stopgap solution is we can provide you with the so-called web, and we are now actually trying to work on. We have also come up with a EpiInfo database. We just had a kind of a eureka moment during our last meeting with CDC. When we talked about this problem, ano ba naging problem namin? Ang naging problem namin, hindi namin natansya na medyo, siyempre, papadala namin sa inyong mga forms. Alam naman, nakita namin kasi kung bibili namin ng pinakamurang papel, yung pinakamatipid, baka hindi nyo pansinin, baka kung saan na mapunta. So, medyo descende naman yung aming nilalagay dyan. Kaya lang magastos yan. And if really there would be more people who will volunteer, pasok na lang siya, imbes na makatanggap pa ng ganyan at susulat, eh makakatipid kami ng malaki. Malaki matitipid namin, both in terms of expenses at sa time, and a lot of all the things to that advantage. Ang laking tulong niyan kung pwede yun. Okay. So, yeah. Maybe as early as tomorrow morning, what we can actually do for those who are representing institutions, we're going to provide you with a USB na andun na yung Epic Info program, hindi nyo na kailangan install. Naka-install na siya sa loob. I-click nyo lang siya, tumakbo na siya, and then pag sinabi ano yung file bubuksan mo, of course, we are going to give you the files for the institution and also for the researcher at i-open nyo na lang yan. At diretso ng pasok. Okay? Right now, it's already ready, except na hindi natin talaga lang ng additional feature that will make it more convenient for you to enter. Kasi doon sa form na yan, kada page, ilalagay nyo, kailangan nalagay nyo yung pangalan ng institution nyo. Eh kung 14 pages yun, parati yun, ulit-ulit yun, gawin 4 yun. Baka kayo magalit sa amin, sabihin nyo, napakadali naman gawin nito eh. Totoo nga naman, simple program lang yun. Kung totoo siya na, automatic na, pag pinas mo yung once yun once yun yung pangalan sa harap, lahat na ng next pages, meron na siya laman. So, we will try to make it as friendly as possible for you. Okay? So, yun yung aming inahabol. And I said, it's a eureka moment kasi hindi namin naisip wala kong ito solusyon. Ay nagkataon, this is an opportunity activity, meeting for us kasi ang dami namin pwedeng padalan kagad. Hindi namin kailangan magbayad pa ng mail para ibigay sa inyo. Now, hopefully, many of you represent institutions, you can use the same, after the same USB, para yun na rin gawin ng mga researcher. Pwede pasok na rin doon, or the researcher can just copy the USB, tapos gumawa sa sarili silang file, tapos sila lang padala sa amin. So, mas flexible na siya gawin. Okay. So, okay. Of course, we anticipated that there would be a lot of interesting things that we will encounter while we are reading all of this. There are some concerns also about what about the validity of the data. Of course, hindi naman siya sa amin na hindi kayo honest, but we just want to actually go through that motion of determining the so-called validity, especially for those that might have some quite interesting information that they're offering. So what this means is we're going to look at them, identify some institutions that might need to be visited because mukha ng meron na tinikiling ng bago equipment. Totoo ba ito? Hindi. At gusto natin ma-verify yan. Kung totoo yan, then of course, that means okay. Okay? Hindi namin mapupuntahan lahat. Hindi namin pwede gawin lahat. But we will just be selective. And as I told you, as our agreement is concerned, ipag-select namin, more or less, medyo may pagka-bias kami towards those that we think will be more important to be information to be shared to the bigger community. Kung meron nagsasabi na meron silang new area na ginagawa, that might be something that might be leading us to identify na yun ang mas magandang bisitahin. Okay. Now, we will of course maybe request from time to time to show us some documents, kung pwede. Of course, establish na siya. Initially, we thought na ito pa mga documents na to, bawat researcher, kailangan bukod doon sa form, napibilang pa nila, sabihin nyo, sino kaya, din ang ginagawa nyo eh. Padala nyo nga yung mga kontrata nyo, etc., yung mga validate nyo. Sabi namin, ako, huwag naman, hindi namin, of course, maganda ka siguro to verify. Hindi naman talaga kami nag-iimbestiga rito. Hindi namin kailangan, but just to be in class, we might request there might be something interesting in those, and maybe we can look at some documents during our visits. Okay, but hindi namin kailangan na magpadala kayo, baka mamaya, padala nyo kami ng sapat muna. Nakikita ko na yung activity na yan. At this point, in UP Manila, we are talking about promotions time. At tapos bawat faculty is required to provide his own dossier. Yung mga kasama ko sa NDTC, ganyan ang kampanya kanilang mga to support their para yung information sa promotions. Ako yung na-insecure, sabi ko, dahil bago pa lang sa NDTC, ganyan lang na-division yung ating syllabus. Sabi ko, well, hindi naman talaga ako maasa na ma-promote gaya nila dahil bago naman ako. Okay na sa akin yun. Pero ganun talaga. Inisip ko, in relation to our activity dito, parang parehas eh. Kung re-require namin na lahat ng documentation ng lang ngayon, ibig sabihin sa amin, wala. Baka mamaya isang buong kwarto ng DTC, ibutan namin para sa inyong mga dokumento. Hindi namin kailangan. Okay? So, okay. So we will conduct visits. Of course, those visits will be to, we'll have these purposes to follow up on the submission of forms, to decrease non-response rate, okay, to determine if there are other qualified respondents in the region that are missed, and to verify information in the submitted forms. Okay. So if we request that we visit your institution, hopefully you're going to be opening your doors to us. And that means we find your institution really of interest to the team. Okay. More or less, kung ganun nangyari, meron of interest. PCHRD, pag sinabi si PCHRD na daw sa institution, minsan, pero sinabi na balak na gusto natin na gawin ito class to hindi parating gano'n. Hindi parating gano'n. Yes. Who knows, no? Anyway. So, at this point, where are we? We started with the project. Medyo konting problems na kasi. The signing was last June. The signing, the document was ready for signing last June. Medyo naghintay kami ng kasi yung legal process at medyo paingat si Manila. So, na-delay din yung actual signing of the document and the release of the funds. But while, of course, we already knew that tuloy na rin lang naman yan, kahit na hindi mo taga-sign, nag-bono na kami, nagpadala na kami ng forms. It was really planned for this meeting, pero sana kami mag-produce na resulta na. No? And the plan was to actually concentrate on Region 6, being the host. 7 lang, sorry. 7, tapos neighboring 6 and 8. So, pinagdala namin yung mga institutions ng mga forms. Okay. Of course, we understand na hindi pa lahat nakapagana. Some people, of course, Region 7, we understand the situation that they beg off. PC said us prepare the come. So, that's understandable. Of course, other institutions are still, meron namin natanggap. At least, nagkakaroon kami ng idea how the work will be. Meron kami natatanggap ng mga forms from mostly Region 8. So, Region 8, thank you very much sa inyong mga participation. Region 6 and 7, I know, alam ko na kayo. We're communicating and we understand it might take time. No? So, but this will be an opportunity for you to meet us kasi subulan lang naman kami, hindi kami kilala siguro at sila yung mga boses na telepono nang hihingi. Ito, aking team. Okay, so we have a few and we decided not to present the results kasi baka magkaroon ng medyo unnecessary supposedly conclusions out of the very few muna. We can just only share experiences. Of course, we would like to acknowledge, of course, and thank those who already submitted the forms. No? Hindi sayang. Even na hindi sila represent ngayon, your submission, early submission is very helpful because nakikita namin kung ano pa yung mga problema namin. Okay? Okay, and then we would like to acknowledge also yung course PNHRS, PCHRD team, yung team ni Dr. Habakon who have given the guidance, no? All throughout, medyo alam po, there were some points na nainip na rin sila sa amin dahil hindi kami pinapapil sa trabaho, but they are very patient with us. Okay, so, Dr. Habakon, si Miss Catameo, si Sheriff Lealdo, yung mga regional coordinators ng DOST, PCHRD, DOST, no? Sige naman po na, sorry. Hindi kasi, mayroong state back. And really thank okay. Now, we would like now to invite you, because most of you will eventually be part of this respondents, group of respondents, as a researcher or maybe as one who's going to be answering for institution. So hopefully we'll now see, sabi na kanina sa presentation si Dr. Bruets at Dr. Bruets at Dr. Habakon, na napaka-importante na ito kasi they need those information. PNHRS needs those information so that they can actually come up with the right, appropriate interventions specific to the region. Okay? So, sana ma-realize yun that will increase your motivation to participate and encourage other people to also participate dito. Okay. And also, we would really entertain your advice, your recommendations, because, talagang medyo ang aming concern is really how to get more people involved, how to get more people to send back the forms. Ano ba magandang magawa? Ano suggestion nyo from your end? We will really be open to those ideas. No? And we, sabi ko yung paggamit ng USB, although it takes us, it was quite some, but we compared how much it will be more, or how much it will be cheaper, and a lot convenient for us to have it, to use that, than to rely on the hard copies. Okay. Right? And I would like to acknowledge the presence of my team, Dr. Maria Lourdes, Dorothy Salvacion, Dor Salvacion, Mayor Pastor, Ali Francisco, Ali. Okay, you will see us. Meron kami natin dyan. Table. Sabi ko, because siguro by tomorrow morning, baka mag-exhibit na kami ng mga USBs. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I really want to hear from you.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Sarol. Pero kayong aalis kasi I'm sure we're going to need you in a short while. But before our next number is actually an open forum. However, before that, I'd like to call again our chair of the capacity building, Dr. Habakon, to just tie in a few loose ends to put their talks together, ma'am.
As you must have noticed from the beginning, we have been reiterating the purpose of this study. I just want to practically beg everybody concerned. Kulang na lang maging model. Researcher ba? All of us are interested in research. All of us have our own personal complaints. No? This is the time I think that we should get involved. We will not know how to proceed unless you participate in our data collection. I think the mind of the team of IIN is to look at this as a research on a national level. And the main objective of this is to know how we can really recommend procedures, processes, programs that will strengthen further our main objective of strengthening the research agenda in our nation. Tapusin na natin yung mga, bakit ganyan? Bakit ganito? Kasi ganun. Kasi naman. So, ang tawag po namin doon is mga doubting Thomases, di ba? So, let's stop being doubting Thomases. As I keep underlining, there is no other agenda here. We just want to know where you are as researchers, as research institutions, and as consortia. So, let us, for once, do this together. At for all you know, malaki ang pag-asa natin na from where you are, we can help. No matter how small the help that we are able to do, at least we will be doing it. Ang ano ka lang, I cannot beg you enough to please. Alam niyo ba how many did you send sa research consortium institutions? 80 ang forms na ipinadala nila ayun. Like any other researches, maraming hitches eh. Meron ba nakapag-research dito na walang hitch? Di ba? Meron ba? Raise your hand. Palit tayo. Dito kayo. Di ba lahat may hitch? So, especially in the data collection. Di ba? Doon na, please help us. Sabi nga ay 80 po ang hitch sa release ng funds, which is not surprising anyone. No? So, nagpadala kami ng 80. Ang nagbalik ay 10 ibinalik. And thank from the bottom of our hearts Region 8. They are the ones who really responded. Kaya sana, no? Sana pag next time when we see you again, pag pumalakpak, lahat i-recognize. So Region 1, 2. So sana, please, no? Please cooperate with us in this. And promise we will report to you whatever happens. We will report to you in whatever way we can what has happened, and we will follow up whatever program we recommend. So thank you so much.
Maraming salamat. Please give our two presenters a big round of applause. Okay, Dr. Sarol, Dr. Habakon. So we've come to that part of the program where we really need you to participate. And this is the open forum. We have invited Dr. Libertad Garcia to moderate the open forum. Dr. Garcia, for those of you who still don't know her, was the former director of the Commission on Higher Education Office of Region 8 and is currently the director of the CHED Office of Institutional Quality Assurance and Governance in Diliman, Quezon City. Dr. Garcia, please, may we request you back.
Maayong buntag sa atong tanan. Pleasant good morning. Yes. Actually, to add to that introduction, I also am part of the capacity building committee. So I'm part of the team who pilot tested the draft instrument that we prepared. And I was still with Region 8, especially during the height of Typhoon Yolanda. And that's the reason why I want to come here, because the topic is really very close to me, being one of the victim regions for the Typhoon Yolanda. So like the appeal of Dr. Habakon, I also would like to appeal especially to our higher education institutions. May I have the show of hands coming from HEIC here. Okay, so we have quite a number. We want your support. This endeavor is not only to assess your individual capacity, but especially the national capacity, our institutional capacity, our country's capacity in the area of research, especially for higher education institutions, where one of the important functions is research, not just instruction, not just extension. So we need to assess our capacity so that we can manage our resources, very thin, very small, limited resources. Appropriate resources will be allocated. Appropriate intervention programs and policy directions will be introduced so that we can raise the level of our capacity. My office, the newest office of the Commission on Higher Education, is the institutional quality assurance and governance. So from the name itself, we are in charge for ISA. So we are now moving towards quality outputs. So it's not just the input. So thank you, Dr. Sarol, for that very comprehensive report, introduction, very inspiring overview of why this instrument has been developed and why the support is needed. And thank you, Dr. Habakon, also for telling us the story of the 1 year preparation we have made just to be able to produce this instrument. And thank you also for the other members of the committee and especially our partners from PCHRD. Nalaga po namang ang tiyaga-tiyaga nila mangulit sa amin. Despite our limited time, I have to travel from Tacloban just to be in Manila to finish the work assigned to us. Because we believe the importance of research. If we want to improve the health of every Filipino, we have to do it correctly, accurately, and your data is very important. So we have been hearing good things and challenging things from the opening remarks from Dr. Montoya, the coming of the ASEAN 2015, and also the problems we are encountering, and even in the other parallel sessions. So it's about time that we will be hearing from you. Napakinggan nyo na po yung mga sinabi namin, sinabi nila. Ngayon naman po, kayo ang papakinggan namin. Maraming salamat, Dr. Blas. Nandito kayo from Region A. So I'm so happy to see old friends from Region A. So kayo naman po ang papakinggan namin. So your reaction, your comments, input, suggestions, so we can facilitate the completion of this work. Please, your advice is very important. This is a partnership, no? Hindi lang po trabaho ng DOST to, hindi lang po trabaho nila Dr. Sarol to, o ng capacity building, atin po ito. Because our intention is to improve the health of every Filipino. So lahat po tayo. So magsama-sama. So please introduce your name and also your institution. For documentation purposes, we need to get your complete name. And if you have a time will not allow us, then maybe you can put your comments, input, suggestions in a piece of paper and you give it to us. Okay, so anyone? Yes, sir. Dr. Reyes and Tevez.
I will just use the microphone for that.
I'm sure this is directed to Dr. Sarol.
Good morning. Well, I'm Franco Teves. I'm from the Northern Mindanao Consortium for Health Research and Development. I really agree that the Capacity Building Committee is plays a very important role in helping our research capabilities in the country. I have just 3 points that I would like to raise. I hope that one is something that may be extracted from the data that will be submitted to your committee. I'm very much concerned with our aging researchers, and which is really true. I don't know if we have this as a concern. How many of our health researchers, for example, will be retiring in the next 5 years? And if we have also some plans for mentoring, so that we'll have a continuous, the sustainability of health research in the country. And in particular, which fields in health research are wanting for now? For example, I believe that there are only a few epidemiologists in the country. And I don't know if our regions have enough epidemiologists to help, really improve the researches, especially those involved in epidemiological studies. That is one of the, I'll just mention the 3 if it's okay. Okay, and then the second one is, I'm hoping that we can also include in the questionnaire, like problems being encountered by the researchers, because we do not have questions included on problems that are being encountered by our researchers. For instance, we are hoping that other line agencies, especially those that are responsible for funding our researchers, like the Department of Budget and Management and the Commission, only perhaps if they can have some representatives invited in our meetings like this, so that at least these line agencies will understand the kind of work that we are doing. For example, in Northern Mindanao, in Iligan, for instance, we're involved in the Ramos reproductive age mortality study, and our researchers are, when they go to the remote places just to get the correct information and the complete data, our COA doesn't understand this. So you can only have this much, even though we really need, such funds to reach the last barangay, the last sitio to get the data, and we are always having a problem justifying this every now and then. So I hope that these things can also be addressed when we have this kind of activity right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are three questions raised, and the first question will be answered by, thank you for that comment. We also appreciate that. I think in one of the meetings of the NHRS, technical working committees at DOH, we also discussed the problem of funding and the release of funds. One of the comments of the